Are we all right? Oh, hey, hi. Good evening, lovers of literature. It's Nick. I'm back, and tonight we are starting in on what is something of an infamous piece of fiction known as Amara's Rose by Brianna Gu. This caught some attention on the internet some years ago in that she was a self published author at age 19 and put up a AMA on Reddit that says, I'm Brianna Gu, a 19-year-old Redditor who has published her first young adult sci fi novel. And without really reading it, I think, maybe some people did, but mostly the comments, I'll post a link here if you'd like to go take a look. A lot of it's been deleted. I think maybe if you went into the Wayback Machine, you could get a bit more context. But basically, she describes herself as a self-published author, and it came to light through like investigations that. Oh, and she made it to the front page of Reddit, and I believe this is one of the most. Is this a negative? I want to say this says negative 7,000. It became a highly downvoted and extremely controversial comment thread. In part, in no small part, because her boyfriend, who is in the AMA asking like leading questions to give her an opportunity to talk about it, also is a moderator of something like a half a dozen different subreddits and writes bots as at least a hobby, possibly as a profession. And so she began being accused of her boyfriend doing algorithm manipulation. And, well, if I'm being perfectly frank, the book just isn't very good. She also says here a 19-year-old Redditor who's published her first young adult sci-fi novel, but it wasn't published exactly. It's a self-published book. It's a self-published book, and she made kind of like deliberately. Oh, it looks like it has 7,900 points up, I guess. But it was an extremely controversial post. A ton of the stuff that's on there now is deleted. So you'd have to, yeah, go into the Wayback Machine or something to see a lot of the obfuscated stuff. There are apparently grammatical errors in the first printing's dust jacket. And we've read this already before. It's simply not very good. That's what it really comes down to. It's not the worst book I've read, not by a long shot, but it's also not great. It certainly gives self-published energy. What is that fucking handle doing in here? I told you to go away. Chair handle. Let me go ahead and read the back of the book, the copy that I have. The key is a sacred object which allows its holders to open portals to other planets at will. Passed down through her family, the key marks Rose as the gatekeeper for the planet of Amara and entrusts her with keeping it safe from harm. This is a job she had always known to be laid back, that is, until her mortal enemy attacks. Amidst a battle to protect her home, Rose disappears. Waking up on Earth, she discovers the portals have stopped working and that she must team up with Earth's gatekeeper, Derek, to get back to Amara. The clock is ticking as Rose's friends on Amara try to determine where Rose went and how to bring her home, all the while fearing she may be lost forever. As the struggle to return continues, something more sinister grows out of sight, and more than the lives of those on Amara are at stake. Inspo for Novel Jam. Have you set up the landing page for Novel Jam yet? Are you running that? And so, like many self-published authors, this first book, Amara's Rose, has the subtitle Chronicles of the Key, Book 1. I know not if there is a Chronicles of the Key, Book 2. Let's see what else we got. I guess there's a prologue, there's some dedication. Anyway, I figure we'll go 2 hours on this tonight. It's going to take a while to get through. It's not a thin book. It's probably like, I don't know, 200 pages. 250. And I'll do 2 tonight. I just worry that if I do too much, it's gonna shred my voice. Usually, visual novels will do that. Just extended periods of reading out loud. My muscles, my voice callus isn't quite there yet to be doing 3 straight hours of sustained out loud reading. But we'll start it tonight. We'll see how far we get. We'll see how we feel. And I will be stopping, I believe, in this one. This is something I avoided because we were doing out loud reading style, competitive out loud reading for the Eye of Argon. I refrained from stopping to add my insights or objections, but we have no such provisions in front of us for Amara's Rose, so I will be stopping being like, that is stupid as hell. This book is bad. Is everyone ready to get started? Amara's Rose, Chronicles of the Key, Book 1, Prologue. David Sanders fled the battle scene, even though it went against every warrior instinct he possessed. But he had to warn his wife, and she had to get their girls out of the village. Alethea was no longer safe. This shouldn't have been happening. It was too soon. They should have had another decade. The books had never mentioned this, so she had always assumed she would be older when it finally found her. And despite his wife's recent dreams to the contrary, he hadn't quite believed it. He had stuck his head in the sand, like one of those ostriches on Earth. He had finally become suspicious when the giants suddenly mounted an attack. Not the smartest of species, they were rather cowardly when it came to battles. Yet they were attacking seemingly on their own. In the midst of fighting, he had seen it. The darkness. Up on the looming cliffs, looking down on the valley below. Her blue form, crackling with energy, was eagerly taking in its handiwork. It being capitalized, I'll make clear. That's when David had left. David's stride lengthened when he hit the road out of the valley, but a new noise registered in his brain. He was being followed. He spared a glance over his shoulder and saw the darkness, also capitalized. She crackled as she... oh, no, that's what it says. She crackled as she closed in on him. He was fast, but she knew she was faster. He could feel the hum of electricity charging the darkness's body. One touch from her would be fatal. She could fry his entire village. He wouldn't be able to warn his wife to get the girls out safely. The darkness was nearly upon him, her vile smell nearly suffocating him, her vibrations bringing him to his knees. This is the end. A bright blue and brown light absorbed his body, leaving only a scorch mark on the ground. David Sanders no longer existed. He had left planet Amara forever. Brown? Blue and brown light? What the fuck is a brown light? I don't think you can even do brown light, can you? Brown is just like not lit orange. Chapter 1. Rose. The greenish-blue light of the portal to Amara cast shadows through the trees as I ran. Usually the portal appears on the bridge near here, but tonight it decided to appear elsewhere, forcing me to run across the bridge and through one of Chicago's city parks in order to jump through the portal and return home to Amara. Why it decided to change location, I will never know. The universe has a perverse sense of humor. I nearly fall as I hurtle over a low stone fence and trample a bunch of flowers. Whoops. I'm pretty sure a stone fence is called a wall. I probably have only a minute, tops, to reach that portal in time. If I don't, I'll be stuck on Earth for another year until the portal opens again. Normally, I have my key with me so I can open a portal anytime I want, but I forgot to bring it today. This was supposed to be a quick trip to Earth to pick up one item, so it wasn't a big deal that I'd forgotten the key. My memory isn't always that great. My friends tease me it's because I'm blonde, or maybe I somehow inherited the forgetfulness trait. My parents aren't exactly around to ask, so I guess I'll stick with the hair color theory. Fuck. Okay, there's so much in exactly this little 2-sentence paragraph that smacks of like bad self-published writing. Like, there's something, it's especially young people, they do this like hyper casual voice. It's really hard for me to pick out exactly, but it's like my parents aren't exactly around to ask. It's like this like sarcasm energy. Like, but it's very strange, and like, so I guess I'll stick with the hair color theory. I don't take note of that, I guess, is all I'm really saying. Notice how the language is used there. You'll see a lot of that. A stitch has formed in my side. I can hear my own harsh breathing as I race across a stretch of grass. I hate running. I always have. Maybe it's because I don't have long legs. I'm only 5'1". She's just a little guy. The bright blue-green light of the portal hasn't yet dimmed. It stands out like a lighthouse, guiding and, hopefully, taking me home. Rose Sanders, gatekeeper extraordinaire, I scoff at myself. Can't even remember her own key, and yet it's her job to carry it, with her at all times. There is a period there that I didn't add that pause accidentally. Protecting the key, traveling to planets, and making sure intruders don't get through the portals to Amara. I look around, making sure no humans have seen the portal. There aren't any, so at least I don't have to keep them away from where they shouldn't be, which is a miracle. The stupid species is so curious and nosy. The portal's light dims when I'm about 20 feet from it. Great, it's closing. While it's usually about 8 feet tall, now I'll be lucky to fit through it upright. It's going to be a close call. I will my legs to pump faster than they already are, but the closer I get, the faster the portal shrinks, as if it's mocking me. After a few more strides, the blue-green light has nearly faded, and the center of the portal is almost transparent. The entire thing is about to disappear. It's all or nothing. I dive in head first. Electricity charges the air as I travel through the portal for a split second before I'm launched out the other side with all the force of my momentum. With a quick, neat tuck born of habit, I roll right onto my feet. Smack dab into a tree. My usual grace has abandoned me, and my momentum only makes the problem worse. The tree wins the battle as my face rebounds off of it, and I fall back down onto the hard, unforgiving ground in defeat. The tree branches overhead eventually come into focus. Slightly stunned, I lie there and catch my breath. When I can, I stagger to my feet and grunt as I feel a small bump forming on my forehead. Stupid tree, stupid portal, stupid woods with more stupid trees, I mumble while glaring at the tree I hit. It looks so innocent with its magnificent array of small leaves in shades ranging from light to deep green, and very tough black bark. Ouch, I mutter as I rub my head again and check for blood. Stupid head, for hurting. Talking to yourself? I whirl around, automatically reaching for my knife, but quickly recognize my best friend, Phoenix. Frick! Just when I thought I was only privately embarrassing myself. A smirk crosses her face, and I quickly change the subject. Not much in the traps, I nonchalantly nod at the 3 squirrels she's holding by the tails. Nope, they seem to be getting smarter, she says, looking sadly at them. Poor Phoenix. She hates to harm any living thing, even the noisy and rather pesky squirrels. Phoenix is a kind, gentle person, but she sometimes has to resort to trapping squirrels for trade. Money is tight in her household. It's just her and her older brother. So what were you chatting about with yourself? She asks, raising her eyebrows, whose color matches her silky brown braid and long bangs. Forgot the portal key, I admit offhandedly. So I had to dive through the portal. Ran into a tree. Again? She laughs, her brown eyes twinkling. How many times do you have to run into that tree before you remember its existence? I shrug and try not to grimace. Phoenix laughs. Today is just not your day, is it? Thank you, Captain Obvious. That's internal monologue. Well, Phoenix, when you see someone talking to nothing, I think it's safe to assume that the person speaking is not having the best of days. Or someone might think you're mental, and then they will take your key away, she jokes, then nods toward the trail leading to our village, Alethea. I fall in beside her as we head down the path. Yeah, and who else could do the job? It's supposed to be passed down through families, and I'm the only one left in mine, remember? Okay, so maybe they would just take your key away and not let anyone be the gatekeeper. But there has to be a gatekeeper. If not for me having the only key on Amara, we'd have to wait for certain portals to pop up so we could get the stuff we regularly use from the other worlds. I mean, we could live without those things, I guess, but why give up intergalactic travel? Besides, the stuff from other planets is cool. As we approach a fork in the trail, Phoenix sighs and holds up the squirrels. I have to sell these to the butcher now, she says. So I will be at your house after that. By 6 o'clock for our Three Musketeers party, is that okay? I laugh. When you think about it, it's pretty funny that your brother named you, me, and Sylvia after a group of warrior humans. Phoenix chuckles and nods. Anyway, just don't come early. I have to clean, and that means cranking up the music and dancing as I tidy up, so I prefer not to have people watching me. She looks at me sternly, her disapproval evident of me stealing things from humans. I assume you just came from Earth? Maybe, I trail off with a cheesy grin, then add, Actually, why don't you come over earlier? I know you love it when I sing along to Earth music. She shakes her head and fakes a horrified look. Maybe 6:30 then? I have errands to run anyway. I'll see you later. Tonight I'm having a party. More specifically, a party for Sylvia, our other best friend. Sure, we have more friends, but this is going to be a small party with just us Three Musketeers. We acquired that nickname after an incident with some minor explosives during a festival when we were kids. No one got hurt. We just scared them a bit. As Phoenix disappears, I take the right fork and head toward the village. I pat my pocket, confirming my much sought-after object from Earth is still with me. Looking around at the woods of my home planet, everything seems comfortably familiar. The crisp smell of fresh air, the trees that tower hundreds of feet above me, the river that's nearby roars loudly down to a lake that's just to the south. I enjoy the noises as I walk. The birds singing in the trees, the squirrels squabbling about, building up their food stores for the winter. I've taken the well-worn path that we used to travel between Alethea and the town a few miles east of here. Revealing that my usual speed is back in action, I rapidly increase my pace. My full-out sprint on Earth was equivalent to my jogging speed on Amara. I hate that interplanetary travel often reduces my normal abilities. The village is around the next bend, and suddenly I'm surrounded by buildings. I slow to a relaxed stroll. The village may not be very big, but it's home, and even though I was gone only a few hours, I'm engrossed in its rural, picturesque beauty. Alethea is composed of a variety of quaint wooden buildings, and its old dirt streets have been tamped down by thousands of footsteps. The shops haven't changed since I was a child. They're all different from each other, but no matter how they're built or decorated, they're familiar and bring me a warm, comfortable feeling of home. A heavenly smell wafts into my nose. Baked goods! I could go into the bakery just to look around, or say hi to Neva, or... Wait a minute. I haven't got a cake for the party. Whoops. Hey, Rose, Neva says from behind the counter when I enter. What can I do for you? It always bugs me when she says that. What can I do you for? Wait, did she say that? Oh, she did, my bad. What can I do you for? It always bugs me when she says that. What can I do you for? What about what can I do for you? People's grammar is horrible. Mine is too, but I enjoy casting stones in my glass house. It creates a nice breeze. It makes sense, though, why people have such poor grammar. We only have one school in our village, and attendance is mandatory up until age 11. After that, if you fancy, you can have an apprenticeship. Phoenix did that for a couple of years with a local painter, and now she creates her own paintings in her spare time. She's even sold some to the king and queen for the castle. Neva clears her throat and looks inquiringly at me. Oh, yes, I'm supposed to be responding. Not sure yet, I shrug with a smile. Then I take a second look at Neva. Something's different. Oh, her pale blonde hair has crazy colored streaks in it. I bet she used her icing as dye. It's odd, because not a single other person on Amara has artificially colored hair. I kind of like Neva's new look, though. Maybe I'll ask her how to do that sometime. But not today. No time. Neva, can I please have a custom-made sheet cake? Sure, what kind of cake would you like? Neva's bright blue gaze shifts to the paper she's writing on. An image of the perfect cake comes to mind. Vanilla cake with chocolate frosting and a simple Happy Birthday Sylvia in the middle of it, written in gold frosting, please. Yes, ma'am. I can do one vanilla cake with chocolate frosting and Happy Birthday Princess Sylvia piped in the middle in gold frosting, she says, writing down my order. Everyone always insists on calling Sylvia Princess. Even if she is the princess, it doesn't mean she has to go by the title all the time. No princess, Neva. But, nope. Please put the exact words I said on the cake. Nothing more, thank you. Okay, she says in a hurt tone, her eyes downcast and shoulders slumped. To keep things moving, I ask her, can I come pick up the cake in, say, an hour or so? I mentally calculate the time. Yeah, that'll work. Of course, she says. It'll be ready then. Good. Unlike last year, we won't have to wait for the cake to be finished because I forgot to order it. I set the right amount of coins on the counter. Good, thanks. She doesn't reply because she's already in the back room as if she'd rather be working in the kitchen than chatting with me. As I walk out of town towards home, I glance around. This path through the woods is rarely, if ever, used by anyone but me, so it's deserted. Good. No one can see what I'm about to do. I pull the item I went through the portal for out of my pocket and leaf through a few pages. It appears okay. Going through the portal didn't damage it, but now is not the time to delve into its secrets. I have a party to get ready for. Besides, I'm not sure if I'm quite ready for the information it contains. Hopefully, its owner, Victoria Cooley, doesn't come looking for it. If my mom's old diary is anything to go by, the book in my hands has a lot of valuable information on gatekeepers. It could change everything I thought I knew. That's chapter 1. Boy, there was a lot of stuff in the end there that I hated. So this is okay. So this is the crux of this book that I remember why it's so fucking stupid. This girl has like a portal thing going on. Like she can like travel between worlds, right? And she like fetches stuff from other worlds, particularly Earth. She has a particular fondness for Earth, and no one else like gets it. And I think additionally, if I remember correctly, electricity doesn't work on her planet or something weird like that. But she's like sort of like a weird pariah, like to kind of establish that the portals are a thing that like nobody really fucks with except for her for whatever reason. Which tracks the fact that like it's a modern 20th century Earth that she's traveling to and coming back, and like lives in what appears to be a medieval village where her friends are trapping fucking squirrels for like sustenance. But then you learn like much later in the book that in her parents' time, lots of people are going through portals all the time, and it wasn't a big deal at all. And so just like, and really like you know, if you think about it for 2 fucking seconds, if you could travel to other planets that sustained life and had full-fledged cultures and civilizations, um, you wouldn't be a shit dirt Middle Ages castle princess town. Like, presumably, you would be at least as advanced as Earth, and more likely more advanced than Earth, because there would be places more advanced than Earth. Um, that's one of the funnier, but for whatever reason, instead, her cool, but she's kind of like Little Mermaiding, where like she's very interested in like the surface dwellers' inventions and all of the mermaids who fucking walk around in like effectively the loincloth that is a seashell bra and like live in castles and do that thing, are like, we don't care about the surface world. We don't want to know about, you know, metallurgy and God, what else does she have down in that thing? I don't know, a whole bunch of gizmos and gadgets. But we'll deal with that more as time goes on. You'll see. Okay, give me a 100-second cooldown, and we will tackle chapter 2. Also, I'm no baker, but I'm fairly certain that even with modern technology, which I don't think that they have, you'd be pretty hard pressed to, from scratch, bake and decorate a full-sized sheet cake inside of an hour, right? Like, it's got to cook for like at least a while. I mean, you gotta do all the mixing and then uh, bake the actual cake, and then I assume let the cake cool down. You can't just like pull it straight out of the oven and start decorating. Your frosting's gonna be all gross and melty. Also, dyeing your hair with frosting? What? Does that work? Also, her friend traps squirrels. That's what she does. That's how she makes her living. She traps squirrels and then takes them to the butcher as if there's anything to butch. Like, I'm pretty sure squirrels are, like, so fucking small. They're one of those, like, Survivor Man animals that's like, yeah, you're better off just eating it whole. Don't bother. Don't bother cutting it up. Chapter 2. Phoenix. Oh, right. This book also jumps perspective, so I think in this chapter we will now be under Phoenix's perspective for at least part of the chapter. After Rose and I go our separate ways at the fork in the path, I stroll down the trail to the butcher's. The woods thin out as I turn off the main path onto a smaller one that leads to the western outskirts of Alethea. The sunlight breaks through the canopy, warming my skin, and I smile. A bothersome question works its way into my thoughts. Why did Rose go through the portal? And why did she not mention what she did there? Usually when she comes back from a planet, she's bursting to tell us about it, but today she was quiet, and when Rose is silent, it's usually not a good thing. And why Earth? Besides pulling a prank or two sometimes, Rose isn't fond of going there, although she'll go when someone asks her to get something. My prank theory doesn't hold up because she didn't come back with that look of glee on her face and mischief dancing in her blue eyes. Well, at least no more than there usually is. If it was anyone but Rose, I'd think she'd gone there to visit friends, but she doesn't know anyone on Earth. My step falters. She couldn't know about that particular subject, could she? I've made sure to never bring it up and to avoid any questions about it. There's no possible way she could know. Switching the squirrels to my other hand as I approach the village, I briefly wonder what Lexi's army has been up to lately. Her army is the enemy of ours, and they've been awfully quiet lately. Maybe, for once, they're honoring the peace treaty. That would be a nice change from all the years of skirmishes and ambushes Lexi has instigated. The butcher shop's door is open, and I gingerly step over the threshold. Seeing the meat from dead animals is unpleasant, but I still need to get Sylvia something for her birthday, and the butcher pays good money for squirrels. But it's not Mr. Metzger who's standing behind the counter. It's Colin, his son. Colin looks more like his mother than his father, with pitch-black hair that falls over his soft brown eyes. My thoughts briefly turn to my own parents. I miss them. It's been years since I've seen them. "What can I do for you, fair lady?" Colin jokes as he wipes his hands on a clean white towel. I grin at his choice of words. I've never been called fair lady before. "I'm actually looking for your father." I hold up the squirrels as explanation. "I'm hurt. The pretty lady's not looking for me?" He mock frowns and pretends to sniffle, and I giggle. He relents. "Well, how about I buy those squirrels from you?" "Do you pay as much as your father?" I ask, arching an eyebrow. "Well, considering I don't know what he pays you, I'll make you an offer." Colin tries to arch his eyebrow like mine, and unfortunately, he fails quite miserably. I laugh again. "Name your price, and we'll see if yours matches his." Colin falls silent, scrunching his eyebrows as he thinks. While he does, I study him. He's gotten bulkier since the last time I saw him. He's always been over average in muscle mass, fit from carrying giant slabs of meat back and forth from the freezer to the cases in the front of the store. But now he looks ripped, as Rose would say. "I could give you a great big hug in exchange for those 3 squirrels," he grins and winks. Colin's sense of humor is almost exactly the same as my older brother's, so I know what he's up to. I smile. "No, thank you. That does not sound like my kind of deal." I have to look up to talk to him. Has he always been this tall, or has he grown another inch practically overnight? "Well then, what is your kind of deal?" He puts air quotes around the last part of his sentence. "My kind of deal involves the exchange of my squirrels for your money, because I really do need some cash today." I like bantering with Colin. With people other than Rose, Sylvia, and my brother, I usually have very straightforward conversations. "I don't think my wallet likes you very much." He pats his pocket, and I hear the jingle of coins. "Then I guess I'll have to take my business elsewhere." I pretend to turn around and leave. I long ago learned the art of bargaining. "Well, if you put it that way, I guess I'll just have to give you this." He responds to my fake exit and digs in his pocket. I retrace my steps. A moment later, he pulls out a bag of coins. How much is in there? I ask, my interest piqued. 25 coins. At least, I think that's what's in there. He quickly double-checks the amount. That certainly beats what I usually get. Your price is better than your father's, but you do not have to pay me that much. I'll just take his regular price of 20 coins for 3 squirrels, I tell him politely. No big deal, he shrugs. Just think of it as something extra to go towards your present for Sylvia. I'm surprised he knows what I'm planning to do with the money. On the other hand, I had told him about Sylvia's birthday the last time I saw him, so he must have put 2 and 2 together. He's not dumb. If you're sure that is okay, he nods. Oh, if you're sure that is okay, he nods. It's fine. I hand him the squirrels, and he hands me my coins. I double-check quickly to make sure it is the right amount, trying not to make it too obvious. I would hate to be rude by blatantly counting it. You don't trust me? Colin snickers. How did you know? I force a chuckle to hide my embarrassment. I'm actually just making sure you didn't hand me too much money, I say, making up a quick and rather pathetic excuse. You're not the first person to make sure I'm paying correctly. People clearly do not trust my counting skills. They should, though. I know that 5 comes before 3. I giggle. He is kind of funny. I smile up at him as I put the coins in my pocket. Thank you for buying those squirrels. I have to go now, though, so I'll see you later. I give him one last look before turning to leave. It would be fun to hang out with him, but there's no time today. Welcome! I don't know who's saying that or what they're talking about. I also would like to stop to mention I love how much that this economy is on a coins system, like it's fucking Super Mario. Like their money doesn't even have names. It's just like, I'll give you 6 coins. I head into town while pondering what to get Sylvia. It has to be very special because she can basically get anything she wants, seeing as how she is the princess. It has to be a one-of-a-kind gift. I pause as a thought rushes over me. What if that was why Rose went to Earth? To get a present? Oh, it all makes sense now. I resume walking on the short path to the town's main street, satisfied with that conclusion. So what did Rose get for Sylvia? I cannot think of many items from Earth that Sylvia would even want, let alone ones that Rose would think to buy. Not to mention the fact that Rose doesn't have any Earth money, although she does manage to obtain items from Earth in a rather innovative way. Okay, get back on topic, Phoenix. A present for Sylvia. I turn down the street for the market, hoping to find something there. The unique and colorful stalls create an enjoyable atmosphere. Children run past me, around the stalls and through the legs of the adults, chasing each other. What I would give to have been raised like these children are. The glassblower's stall catches my eye. It's the perfect place to shop for Sylvia's gift because the glass artist never duplicates anything he makes, and everything is beautiful. My eyes wander from piece to piece, hanging from the net strung above the stall, and then onto the shelves around it. The sunlight makes colors dance and spin, and I imagine it's what the inside of a rainbow looks like. An apple swirls with shades of red and deep oranges, a glass lamp with shades of yellow, and a frog made of bright greens and dark blues blend together in a colorful array. Some of the pieces overhead make music as a breeze blows through them. Then I see it. A brightly colored blowfish that is mostly golden yellow with streaks of orange and red. It's perfect because it reminds me of when Sylvia, Rose, and I were all 10 and we decided to go to the lake to catch a blowfish. Little did we know that that type of fish does not live in the lake, but in the ocean. We found that out the hard way when the scolding maids at the castle asked us why we were soaking wet and late for dinner. Alonzo? I call. He appears from behind a stack of boxes. What can I get you, young lass? He asks in his gravelly voice. I point to the blowfish. May I have that one, please? He nods and grabs a long metal hook, trapping the string that suspends the blowfish from the overhead net. The other dangling pieces of glass clink gently. When the blowfish lowers to eye level, I grasp it delicately and remove it from the hook, then hand it to him. I'll be back in a minute. He shuffles out of sight. I look around the marketplace and recognize almost everyone, but a few people look to be from other villages. I wonder what the other villages are like. I've never been to any because my brother has never taken me, and I do not want to go by myself. Trips are no fun without friends or family. Sylvia's not allowed to go, and Rose is always too busy. Plus, she doesn't want to get any closer to Lexi's camp than necessary, and since it's always moving, we never know where it will turn up. "Hey, Phoenix!" a voice yells. I jump, then whip around to see who it is. "Over here!" Colin is waving his hand and grinning as he walks toward me. "Hey, Colin!" I yell back over the noise of the market. "What are you doing here? I thought you were working at the shop?" I came to look around a bit and enjoy the sun," he explains as he approaches, not quite meeting my eyes. Before he can say anything else, Alonzo returns with the wrapped present in his hands. I can tell he packed it well because the box is 2 times larger than the actual blowfish. "Here you go, young lass. Be careful not to drop it." I check the price that's discreetly written on the lid, then give the box to Colin while I pull out the right number of coins. "Thank you, Alonzo." I offer him a merry smile. Is that going to work? Should. Did it work? I missed it. Oh, fuck. StreamerBot's not open. You dumb. Oh, no, it is. Did that go? I missed it if it did. I guess I don't care if you don't. Long metal hook. Colin's here. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna. Check reality. Reality check. Yeah, it should. Doop. Check the price. Do. Waves goodbye. "So that's what you decided to get with the money I so generously gave you," Colin teases. "I do not know about generously. I did offer to take only 20 coins, I reply absently, while watching little children chase ducks by the fountain. And I long again for something I never had. "Okay, but I did give you a little more than someone else would have." I can feel Colin looking at me, and I turn and glance up at him. What does he actually want? Why did he follow me here? Would you like to accompany me on a walk through the market, considering that I now seem to be your designated bag holder and all?" He grins down at me with a goofy smile and props his arm for me to take. The rest of my errands can wait until tomorrow. "I would love to," I reply lightly and put my hand in the crook of his arm, letting him lead me around the bazaar. Oh yeah, the corner pets would have totally gotten roasted. No, yeah, they don't exist on this scene. Chapter 3, back in Rose's perspective. The trail home narrows as the woods thicken, the quiet almost stifling. I pause and look around. Actually, it's much too quiet. A huge forest filled with animals should by no means be this silent. Silence means bad news. The only threat I can think of is Lexi's army. After all, she's the only enemy we have on Amara. Lately, there's been talk around town about being attacked. Rumors run around like stray dogs, and people say she's going to try to destroy our village and that she's going to take another swing at us, an attack that only she and I know would be an act of revenge for what happened years ago. I wouldn't normally be worried, but rumors seem to have a grain of truth to them. The only other enemy could be one from a different planet if there was another key, which there isn't. Or if mine was stolen. Crap. That's possible. If my key's gone, then I am in serious trouble. I sprint down the winding path to the little log cabin in a clearing. It's what's considered fairy tale-like, picturesque and quaint, with ivy crawling up the single-story wooden sides. Gasping, I finally reach my house, whip open the door, and bolt straight to the back room. I yank an old jewelry box off the top of the wardrobe and open it, removing the ballerina that theoretically should spin inside of the box. This one doesn't. I reach into the compartment where the motor once sat. A little brass key sits in its place. I grab it with relief. The key itself is nothing fancy, just plain brass. The sunlight streaming through the window dances off the mass of charms and the silver and gold chains I haven't worn in forever that are now heaped in the jewelry box. A sudden idea hits me. What if I put the key on a necklace chain and wear it? People will simply think it's a pendant. Then I'll never forget or lose it again. I grab a thick brass chain out of the box and rip off its teddy bear charm. Putting the chain through the hole in the top of the key, I slip the necklace over my head. Now that I've verified the key is where it's supposed to be, it's time for my other task, hiding the book I brought back from Earth. I stow it under the mass of chains. It's reasonably well concealed, so I shut the lid and set the box back on top of the wardrobe. I'm still not sure if I want to tell Sylvia and Phoenix about it yet. I'd rather read it first. Going to my front door, I safely lock it and force my clenched hands to relax. Brushing off the lingering paranoia at the silence in the woods, I stride into the kitchen to do some cooking for the party. Except the countertop needs cleaning first, so I take out my bucket of little-used cleaning supplies and I scrub the counter so there's a place to work. 20 minutes later, and bored out of my mind, I crank up the only battery-powered CD player on Amara, otherwise known as, this is all capitalized, the land of no electronics. We don't make or use machines here. I'm the only one who can get her hands on an electronic device, or anything, really, from another planet. Unless, of course, someone were to get a traveling permit, but that almost never happens. And I would know about it if they did, because, after all, they would have to go through me to open the portal. I spin around, loudly singing the lyrics to a human song about taking care of business, and accidentally knock several stalks of celery off the counter. Whoops. 5-second rule, I guess, so I pick them back up and continue to jam. 30 minutes later, a faint tapping noise from the direction of my entryway catches my attention, so I turn down my music. "Rose, open the door!" Phoenix is yelling, quite loudly, as it turns out. When I pull open the door, Phoenix shoves a cake box in my hands as she juggles an armload of packages. "Oh, hey, Phoenix. The cake! Oh, I almost forgot about that." Phoenix follows me into the kitchen. "Thanks, and you did forget about the cake. I've been pounding on your door for about 3 minutes now," she says, sounding slightly annoyed. "My bad. In retrospect, I probably should have left the door unlocked." "It's fine," she smiles. "Come on, we'd better decorate before Sylvia gets here." She unloads the bags she brought and spreads the contents on the table. I set the cake on the counter, then join her in hanging up streamers. An hour later, Sylvia still has not shown up, which is good because we aren't done cooking dinner, but her tardiness can only mean one thing. "Do you think she's late because of her mother again?" Phoenix asks me. "Probably. I mean, there's always an important meeting that the princess needs to attend that is life or death. Remember that time you hid under a desk and had to sit through one of those long meetings? I didn't know death by boredom was an actual occurrence until I had to listen to that. Poor Sylvia. I feel bad because she can't do anything. She has to attend, no matter what." "How late do you think she'll be this time?" Phoenix asks as she stirs the minestrone soup. I give her an hour at most before she sneaks out her window again. That would make 5 times this year she's ditched some fancy schmancy event her mother made her attend, I say with a laugh. Seriously, how long can she stand those pompous government officials? They never speak with words of fewer than 3 syllables, and they always drink their tea with their pinkies in the air. I would go insane if I were her. "That is true, but I think you're underestimating her. I give her 45 minutes. She has more sense than that to stay any longer," Phoenix states as I pour the carrots I had just cut up into the soup. "Want to bet?" I ask, hoping she'll agree to it. This is a bet I know I will win. "No, you know I don't make bets." It's true. No matter how many times I try to gamble with her, she won't. She thinks it's a bad habit. She's probably right, but who said having only good habits is fun? "Just one small harmless bet won't hurt you." "Your last harmless bet ended up with that boy dancing through the main plaza in a tutu, singing a human song about Wee Willie Winky," she points out. I laugh. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. She shakes her head in disappointment. "What did you guys even bet on?" she asks. "Who would win if we arm wrestled?" I smirk. I won, of course. She changes the subject by looking around at the tidy, decorated house and the food simmering on the stove. So, what do we do until Sylvia gets here? How about a game of cards, I ask, snagging a deck off the coffee table and sitting on the floor. Sounds good to me. Which game? Phoenix sits across from me as I deal. Go fish. I pick up my cards, looking for pairs. While Phoenix studies hers, there is complete silence. Inside the house and outside, too. A cold sense of foreboding runs through me as the remainder of the stillness... A cold sense of foreboding runs through me at the reminder of the stillness when I came home earlier. I never did figure out what was going on. My key was safe, and that's what was important to me then. I stand up to look out the window. Why is the forest silent today? I wonder if Phoenix noticed it. All right, chapter 4 is going to be from a new perspective. It's going to be from Sylvia's perspective, the Princess Sylvia. I'm very curious, like, it's really hard for me to get an image of... She calls it a village, and they have dirt roads, but also the castle is there, so it's like the capital. And then they've got, like, a marketplace that's fucking bustling. Like, is it a small place or a big place? It's very confusing. It seems like it's simultaneously just a small town when it needs to be, but then also a bustling, like, effectively medieval metropolis capital city when it needs to be, which I find very funny. And not at all out of step with the way these sort of things, you know, tend to go. A small town with a Costco? I guess, but also the castle. Also Lexi's army. Multiple times now she's mentioned Lexi's army, which, uncompelling name. It sounds like it's your high school girl rival. And probably basically is in this 19-year-old person's imagination. And I guess you could say, like, oh, Sauron's army, but I feel like they'd be named something else. A mega IKEA? Is that a thing? Are there mega IKEAs? I didn't know about that. I didn't know they did, like, Max Evolution IKEA. All right. Proper break now. And when we come back, we will do chapter 4 from Sylvia's perspective, the princess. What do you want to bet? She hates being at the castle and just wants to be out with her friends and doesn't care. She's Princess Jasmine to Amara's freaking Ariel. Yeah, she just wants to be her own girl. Everyone at the castle is just so stuffy. Maybe she has a bitchy stepmom queen. No, actually, I think that both of her parents are alive. She's the one of the two of them that has both their parents alive. And I don't think that they have the parents come in all that much. But I have this vague memory of the dad being kind of a funny character who's, like, surprisingly dumb and friendly for being, like, the king. And not as a juxtaposition to, like, the shrewd queen. Like in like Alice in Wonderland, how there's like the domineering queen and then the king's just like, oh, I'm just a little dude, I'm the mayor of Townsville kind of situation. But we might meet him here in the Sylvia chapter. Stick around and find out. All right. Whew. Sorry, that was kind of a long one. We need you. It's true. It is. Did it actually repeat? I don't remember how long it is. It's pretty long. What was that, like 15 minutes? Maybe a little more? Chapter 4. Sylvia. This is one of those days when I wish I had normal parents. A mother and father who were not royal and who did not drag me into boring political meetings all the time, especially the ones that take place on my birthday. My mother's voice rings out through the conference room. That is why I believe that going to war is pointless, and we should not push the attack. If the other army is spotted nearby, or even slightly inside our borders, it does not mean that they are trying to attack. It could be that they are just trying to provoke us. If we respond, we could end up killing needlessly. I slump lower in my chair. Why must I be dragged to these stupid meetings? I'm supposed to be out celebrating my 13th birthday with Rose and Phoenix right now. I glance at the old, wrinkled officials sitting around the long, rectangular table. I've seen these faces a million times. My mother uses her hands a lot to illustrate her points, and one of her gestures catches my eye. I sigh and turn back towards her and attempt to pay attention to the debate. But soon, I glance outside to the garden. It's well kept, with roses lining the paths and magnificent trees casting shadows along the stone walkway, creating a loop in the shrubbery. Right next to the bridge arching over the stream is a sundial, and I can read it from here. Shoot! I should have been at Rose's 30 minutes ago. It's high time for me to take my leave. I'd conveniently placed myself in the chair closest to the door, so I stand up and exit the room. Regret fills my every step. I don't want to embarrass my mother like this, but I have no choice if I want to see my friends. Where are you going, darling? She asks in her properly clipped voice. I pretend not to hear. Sylvia, please answer me. I walk down the hallway as fast as I can manage, still pretending that I'm not doing anything wrong. My mother's petticoats swish gracefully as she stands up, and her high-heeled shoes tap on the old oak floor as she follows me. I roll my eyes at the sounds her movements make. My mother is a traditionalist. She thinks that, as royalty, we should wear proper clothing, even though everyone else has modernized their wardrobe to be the more practical style of Earth's magical invention called jeans. As soon as I turn the corner, I'm out of sight of the officials. I break into a run. Actually, it's more like an awkward lope due to my confining dress and uncomfortable shoes. The floor-length dress is made of a soft, deep red material and has more skirts than I care to count. My mother says it is appropriate clothing for a proper princess, but it's completely old-fashioned to me. I'm gonna burn these stupid clothes anyway someday, I swear, I mumble as I reach my room. I hustle inside and slam the door, which creates a nice, satisfying thud. The meeting room is far enough away that the officials won't hear. I throw the bolt home, and it thuds in place. I practically rip my dress off, letting it fall into an undignified mess of fabric on the floor. I try to pull off one of the shoes, but I lose my balance and fall over. Damn it, I huff, ripping the shoe off viciously and chucking it unceremoniously as far as I can across the large room. It only goes about halfway. The other shoe quickly follows, flying farther than the first, but still doesn't make it to the wall, where I'd hoped it would hit with a lovely crash. Jumping up, I flip my hair out of my face. My mother hasn't given up and is still approaching my room. The strong feeling of panic in my gut tells me that. Oh, how I thank the stars that Amarians can sense when family is nearby. It warns me that I need to hurry up before she drags me back to the meeting. Ooh, important Chekhov's gun there. Amarans can sense when family is nearby. The clicking of her shoes indicates she's at a fast walk. Ladies don't run. She won't be pleased that I ran away from another so-called urgent meeting again. A meeting that will determine the future of our country and save humanity, she had said. It is, in reality, just a bunch of pompous, uptight, egotistical know-it-alls arguing over something that isn't going to happen in the first place. It's enough to make a girl scream. I run over to a dresser on the wall closest to me, pulling out the first pair of jeans my hands touch. The clicking stops. My mother is right outside my door. I can practically feel her glare burning holes through the wood and into my skin. For a proper lady, she can be downright scary sometimes. Princess Sylvia, I demand that you open the door this instant and return to the councilors' meeting. It is of utmost importance that you are there, she says, and her voice is tense with suppressed anger. Queens aren't supposed to get angry, but then again, she is also a mother. Mother, it is not important for me to be there. It'll be my kingdom someday, but can't I live a normal life sometimes until then? All I do is sit there, mute, seeing as how I've been banned from talking. I pull my t-shirt on and quickly don my jeans. I'm not totally sure why I've been banned from talking, but I think it has to do with the fact that I'm not yet an adult. Not that my age has an effect on how smart I am, or if my voice is important or not, but adults seem to think it does. Her voice is terse. Your presence shows that you are growing up to be a strong leader, that you care what is going on in your kingdom, that you are invested. I ignore this familiar comment. I have places to be and people to see. Not to mention I'm trying to suppress the guilt for being a public embarrassment to my mother. I slip on my shoes. She uses her final threat. I will get someone to unlock this door if you're not out here in 10 seconds. Not likely. My mother wouldn't do that. She's going to make an excuse for my sudden absence, like she always does. She won't look good if people find out she had to break into her daughter's room only to discover her daughter left the meeting to go party. I swallow my instinct to respond with sass. I can't bring myself to be blatantly disrespectful to my mother. Despite how it may seem, her intentions are good. A little misguided at times, but they still come from the heart, I think. So I say in my normal voice, I'm leaving for my birthday party, Mother. I'll be back before curfew. On my room's exterior balcony, I step over the railing, placing my feet on the small ledge that rings the outside. I look around. The coast is clear, not a soul in sight. Now comes the tricky part. After a full second of free fall, I land on the balcony below, hard. Thank goodness Rose taught me how not to be a princess. This balcony is connected to one of the many guest rooms in the castle, and they're usually all empty, so I'm safe from prying eyes. I climb up on the railing of the balcony and look out towards the tree closest to the castle. I quickly leap off the railing and into the tree. I land slightly off balance and fall forward, grabbing a branch above me to halt my fall. I climb down to the lowest branch and leap safely to the ground. I choose the path that skirts the town so people don't see me. If they do, they might question why I'm out of the meeting, and I'm a terrible liar. On the trail to Roses, I run as fast as possible and soon arrive. Wind and curls do not mix well, so I run my hands through my hair in an attempt to reduce its volume. Taking a deep breath, I knock on the door. Who is it? Phoenix sings merrily. It's me, Sylvia, your friend with wind-blown black hair and hazel eyes. The one who's late because she had to sit through another counselor's meeting like the wonderful and good little princess she is, I say sarcastically. Rose opens the door. You know, if it wasn't your birthday, I so would have eaten the cake by now. If it wasn't my birthday, you wouldn't have a cake to eat, I point out to her. She just shrugs, and I gladly follow her into the living room. The rest of the night flies by in a torrent of laughter and happiness. We eat everything that Phoenix and Rose have cooked, and soon hours have passed, and it's time for cake. I could die right now, Rose mumbles through a mouthful of Neva's confection. It comes out sounding more like, We know it's fantastic. You don't need to talk with your mouth full, I say. Rose says she has good manners, but simply doesn't choose to use them. I, however, think she can't use something she doesn't have. A glimmer from something around Rose's neck catches my attention. Rose, you started wearing jewelry again? She looks down at the necklace. I got tired of forgetting my key and needed a way to always have it on me. Phoenix takes a deep breath. Rose, I want to ask you. A tapping sound at the window startles us. A messenger pigeon perches on the window ledge. Rose opens the window and unties a letter from around the lovely white bird's leg. The pigeon immediately flies off, and Rose slams the window closed with one hand while holding the letter in the other. She rips it open and quickly examines its contents. Freak! Her jaw drops. The letter flutters to the floor as she rushes to the door and snatches her sheath of arrows, bow, and short sword off the wall peg. She slings the sheath and bow over her shoulder, then straps the sword around her waist, securing the end to her leg with a strip of leather. "I've got to go!" She tosses at us. What? Oh, I guess that's the speech. "I've got to go," she tosses at us as she bolts out the door, a worried look on her face. Phoenix looks about as shocked as I feel. I close the door behind Rose, pick up the letter, and read it aloud. "Enemies spotted in the forest. Report for duty immediately. This is not a drill. Information upon arrival." Turning it over, I see the seal of the commanding officer. I hand the paper to Phoenix so she can see the seal too. Her face is grave. I share her concern because this can't be good. "It must be Lexi, don't you think?" Phoenix asks as she rereads the terse note. I breathe deeply. "It has to be. Do you think she's really going to attack us? Because if she does, Rose is bound to be in the thick of it." "Why are they enemies?" Phoenix asks. "In all the time I've lived here, no one's told me why they hate each other so much." "No one knows," I shrug. "Rose won't tell me. Every time I ask her, she changes the subject or refuses to answer." I think about it, then add, "It's really quite odd." It is odd that no one knows the source of the hatred between Rose and Lexi, but what I do know is that Rose is going to use her rank to get as close to her enemy as possible. Phoenix takes in a breath. "If only we knew why they hated each other so much, or even who Lexi is, and why she hates Alethea and wants to attack us. She and her army have been very quiet lately, though. I thought maybe she'd given up." Bitter laughter escapes my lips. "Lexi? Live with us in peace? I highly doubt that will ever happen. Either way, you and I aren't in the army, and it's probably something small. Rose will be back sooner rather than later." "But what if it's like the last big war? The one from 8 years ago?" I inhale sharply. "Then we're all gonna be affected. The last war, it took a lot of lives. So many brave men died in that war. So many were injured. The town was devastated." "That's when Rose's dad?" Phoenix falters. "Yeah, that's when. I was there for the memorial service, you know." My eyes begin to water. "The 2 Sanders girls were there, of course, with their mother. But there was no body to cremate." "He just disappeared. He was presumed dead because it was pretty much a joke that he would ever abandon his people. He was the best soldier our military had ever seen." Oh, that's really good. "But why? I mean, Lexi wasn't around then to mount an attack against Alethea, and Rose's mom? What happened to her?" "No one knows why the war happened. It's as if the giants, for the first time ever, actually got a mind of their own. But no one led them into battle, so it was odd." I clench my teeth in anger and manage to bite out the next words. "As for Mrs. Sanders, she abandoned the girls. I guess her husband's death was too much for her to handle. She just disappeared one night about a month afterward and hasn't been seen since." "Oh, poor Rose." Phoenix's eyes shine brightly with unshed tears. "I couldn't even imagine losing 2 parents so close together." I look at my feet. "Ya, and her sister a month later, gone as well." Phoenix falls silent and doesn't say any more. Rose's worried expression and sudden departure have unnerved me. I seriously hope this confrontation isn't as bad as the feeling I have says it is. "I should go back to the castle," I say reluctantly. Phoenix nods. We both know I've got to be a princess now. I run all the way back to the palace, my hair streaming behind me as my legs quickly cover the ground. Dread settles in my gut. Dang, that was a good chapter. There was no body to cremate. Okay, it's your stream. Juicy, what's up? You've got great timing. Thanks for showing up during chair stream. We've got a chapter or two left of Amara's Rose tonight, and shit just popped off. Our main character, Rose, received a mysterious letter from a carrier pigeon. Then it looks like it might be a battle with Lexi's army. And then one of our other characters was like, it might not be that bad. And then the other one's like, well, what if it's like that war we had extremely recently, 8 years ago? So we'll see. That's when our protagonist's parents disappeared. There was no body to cremate. And then they seem to believe that the mother betrayed everyone. Yeah, she just disappeared. So they both went missing. So they're both probably alive. Amara's Rose, Chronicles of the Key, Book 1, Chapter 5, Rose's Perspective. I run as quietly as I can to the Valley of the Nomads. Something had felt wrong in the forest today. I should have listened to my instincts and investigated why it was quiet. Now I know at least partially why. The threat to Alethea and to perhaps all of Amara must be Lexi's army. No one came through the portal with me today, and no one else has been in possession of my key, so the threat originated on this planet. My thoughts race. I could face Lexi soon, which would be good for me on the personal vendetta against her level, but bad for my town on a possibility of a war level. I arrive at the valley more than a little out of breath. I count heads. 44 already. Frick. I'm the last one here. Join your rank, the general says sternly. Phew, no reprimand for being the last one here. I follow his order, my brain kicking into soldier mode. Damn. The general holds up his hands to get everyone's attention. We have spotted enemies across the valley. They are not encroaching on our territory yet, so the peace treaty is still in place. However, there is an entire army camping out on the border. There's only one peace treaty on Amara, so we all know immediately that this is Lexi's army. Thanks, Juicy. Thanks for popping by. The general's voice breaks into my thoughts. Nothing has happened yet, but we need scouts to get as close as possible and figure out what the enemy is doing. Her army is composed entirely of giants, and we believe her mission is to destroy our village. We do not know why she seeks to do this. She does it because she has a personal vendetta against everyone who lives in Alethea, I reply to him silently. That was inner monologue. I don't really know how to express inner monologue to all of you. I need like an inner monologue button. She is full of rubbish, and none of them even know who she really is. The general's next words grab my attention. Gold Squad, he says, addressing the group I'm part of. You are heading into the tree line. Sneak up on their headquarters. Listen for any plans they have. As you know, it is of the utmost importance that you are not caught, because it would start a war if you were. He turns to the group on my left. Silver Squad, you are on the edge of the border, in the trees, as backup. It is also imperative that you are not seen or heard. Bronze Squad, he says to the remaining group. You will be staying with me in case they try to send people across the valley. If it is peaceful, we will be acting as negotiators. If it is not, then we are the first line of defense. The general's face is deadly solemn. Good. Gold Squad will go in and spy. I would jump with joy if I could, but that would get me yelled at, so I stay still, focusing on not smiling too widely. Sanders! Uh-oh. You will be staying with the Bronze Squad. I try my best not to protest and fail miserably. That's not fair, sir, I huff. I've earned my position on Gold Squad. I should be allowed to go in. Everyone stares at me. It takes guts to argue with the general. It also happens to be one of the stupidest things anyone can do. Stupid things are my specialty, though. He shoots me a glare. Sanders, stand down! He stalks over and gets right in my face. Just because you were the youngest girl to enlist and the first female to join Gold Squad does not mean you are immune to the rules. You will listen to your orders and be happy that I am allowing you to stay on Gold Squad after that remark. He nearly spits, his voice radiating anger. Everyone else is avoiding eye contact with the general and with me. I'm just trying my hardest not to glare back at him. I do not appreciate public ridicule, even if by my superior. Thank you, sir, I say, trying not to sound like I want to choke him. Dismissed! He strides off with a final frown of warning. All of my buddies on Gold Squad move away, giving me pitying looks that I despise. I glare at everyone on Silver Squad, and they all just look scared as they head towards their assignment. I know why I was ordered to stay behind, and I don't like it. The general knows that whenever I see Lexi, I tend to disobey orders, which risks my safety and that of everyone around me. So it's perfectly logical why he would order me to stay behind on a stealth mission. I still don't like it. Not one little bit. Bronze Squad takes a position that overlooks the valley, and I find a spot with a good view, but that's apart from everyone else. They're all talking quietly, but doing nothing. Boring. They could be doing something productive, like making arrows, which I plan to do. Oh, man. There are a few straight sticks lying in the tall grass that will function, with a little work, just fine for arrows. The feathers and arrow tips at the bottom of my sheath, and probably everyone else's too, can be attached to the sticks, so I get to work. I'm busily carving my arrows, convincing myself that the Gold Squad mission is probably boring anyway, when I feel eyes intently watching me. I look up. A girl, about a year younger than me, is studying what I'm doing from her perch a few dozen yards away on the top edge of a steep hillside. Yes? I ask. What's her deal, anyway? She grabs the bow and sheath on the ground next to her and scampers over to me. I was curious as to how you do that. How I do what? Make my arrows? Finally, someone on this squad decides to be productive. She nods. Seriously? How can she be an archer and not know how to make her own arrows? The army needs to raise its standards for bronze. I might as well teach her. Do you have a knife? She nods again and pulls one out. I hand her a stick. Hold your knife out like this. I demonstrate, tilting my hands so she can see and push it along the length of the stick. She copies my actions. Soon enough, we are carving arrows, and I actually enjoy the companionship. My stick is done, so I cut a slit in the top for the arrow tip and stick the sharpened rock in, tying it on with some brightly colored string I carry in my sheath for just this purpose. I do the same in the back with the feathers. The girl mimics my movements with her own supplies. I repeat the tasks with the rest of my sticks for the next hour, until the shadows lengthen. A dozen new arrows are lined up in front of me. Tucking my knife back in my boot, I get up, stretch, and gather the arrows in my bow. It's time to see what this bronze squad girl has got. Walking over to a tree, I carve an X in it. What are we doing now? She follows me like a puppy dog. Usually, I would find it annoying, but today, I don't care. There are other bigger things to be annoyed about, such as being left behind on a mission and having to babysit Bronze Squad instead. Target practice. I walk 20 paces from the tree and draw back my bow. I'm able to see clearly despite the gathering darkness, and once again thank the stars that I'm back on Amara with my usual powers. The girl rushes to do the same. We both shoot. She's a good archer, but has room to learn more. I give her pointers as we shoot. My shots hit the center of the X almost every time. The girl hits somewhere on the X about 90% of the time and only once misses the tree entirely. But her bow is angled up much too high for the distance we're shooting. She's aiming as if the target is much farther away. Do you shoot mostly long distance? I ask her conversationally. Yes, I'm having some issues shooting short distance because I only do it every now and then. She looks frustrated. I nod and continue to offer advice. After a few more minutes of intense practice, the girl is noticeably better. When we're both out of arrows, I put my hand up in the regulation gesture to tell her to stop so we can safely retrieve our arrows. Once I've done that, I sit on the ground, fold my legs, and lean against the tree. With a rag from my sheath, I polish my bow and clear off the fingerprints. The girl mimics my actions yet again. If imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, then I must be the most flattered person on Amara. Your bow is really nice, she says. It is. I agree. God, what? I agree, hoping she won't push the subject. Where'd you get it? Dang it, why'd she have to ask that? It was a gift, I say tersely. From whom? Stupid people and their curiosity. My father, I say, barring my face of emotion. Wow, he must be really awesome, she says enthusiastically. This girl clearly knows nothing about my family history. He was? Whoops. Was? He's dead. Her eyes drop to the dirt. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, he made this himself and gave it to me just a few hours before he passed. What the heck? Why am I telling her this? He must have meant a lot to you. I might as well tell her. I mean, the kid's a stranger, so who cares, right? He was the closest person to me and taught me all these great life lessons like words work better than fists and to have patience and... Faltering, I continue without thinking. He was such a great warrior. I don't know how he... I feel my throat start to tighten and I immediately stop talking. Anyway, I don't ever talk about him. She peers up at me. I feel her trying to figure out how to react to my sudden gush of information. I swear I won't tell anyone what you said. I mean, I'm the best at keeping secrets. This'll be just between you and me, 'cause we're friends now, right? And friends keep secrets. The hopeful look on her face makes me halt what I'd planned to say. Of course, but you have to swear on your life not to tell anyone. She lights up like a glowing stonefish in summer. Oh my goodness, of course! On my life, I swear to keep your secret and take it with me to the grave. Line of asterisks. So I guess some time has passed. Send us! Hannaway, the general calls a short while later. The girl, Hannaway, and I jump to our feet and stand at attention. There is a party of delegates coming across the valley to meet us under a white flag. Go find out what they want. Finally, a little action, I think, gleefully. Yes, sir, we respond and salute like the trained soldiers we are. Someone from Bronze Squad hands Hannaway a white flag. As is customary in these situations, we leave our bows and my short sword at the base of the tree, but I discreetly check that my knife is still in my boot. Hannaway's eyes widen as she notices what I did. I thought this is supposed to be peaceful, she whispers. You never know what tricks they have up their sleeves. Having a weapon could make a big difference in the end. Never underestimate the importance of a knife. Hannaway nods and tucks her own knife down the side of her right boot. At a nod from the general, we scramble down the steep hillside. After several dusty minutes, we reach the valley floor. The opposing delegates have halted halfway across the valley plain. A few trees dot the tall grass, with many more on the surrounding hillsides. Hannaway and I are exposed to everyone's view, but then, so are the enemy's representatives. We need to look formidable, I instruct Hannaway as we cross the plain to meet them. Let's have an air that says we mean business, but don't appear like you won't negotiate. Just copy me and hope for the best. Within a couple of minutes, we're close enough to distinguish the features of their faces. Giants. Ugh. And 3 of them. At least these are smaller giants, only 6 feet tall. They must be younger. Maybe they were chosen to show that this really is a peaceful delegation. Or maybe not. We'll just have to find out. We stop a few yards away from them, a bubble of safety between us. What is the business that requires this meeting? I say, trying to sound professional and authoritative. We wish to discuss negotiations about a new peace treaty, one of them grunts. We require an audience with your queen. I'm debating if I should take them seriously or not, but then I notice a familiar light flashing from behind the giants. My Gold Squad buddies, on the hillside near the enemy's camp, sending me a coded message with the handy laser pointer I brought from Earth. This is a trick. Pull back. I roll my eyes. Gold Squad really should know better than to tell me to pull back. I'm just not the type of girl to go home without a little fun first. I would be honored to take you to her. I step toward the 3 giants. It's a pleasure to work with you. Ugly, ugly creatures. I hope my disgust doesn't show on my face. I stick out my hand for their leader of the delegation to shake. He clasps my hand, and I jerk him forward, right into my other fist. Bam! Good thing they sent small giants I can push around, and even better that I've got my full strength back after that little trip to Earth earlier today. The giant groans and holds his face with both hands. The air thickens as the other 2 realize that this meeting is not going to be the slightest bit peaceful. A giant launches himself at Hannaway and she jumps to the side. He misses her and tumbles end over end for a few yards. With the flagpole still in hand, she stabs the 3rd giant in the eye. Jesus Christ! An expression of malice on her face I didn't think she was capable of. He falls to the ground, screaming in pain. Fucking yikes, Hannaway! The giant I punched roars as he lunges for me, blood dripping down his face from a broken nose. The giant Hannaway sidestepped is also on his feet and looking murderous, probably from hurt pride. All right, now we pull back as instructed. I turn tail and sprint with Hannaway right behind me. As we race across the valley floor, I grin with a bit of pride at Hannaway's sharp wits and bravery. I'm glad I earned her trust, and her mine. With my heart pounding and adrenaline rushing through my veins, I listen to the sounds of pursuit, trying to gauge if they're gaining on us. Something behind us makes a whizzing noise, and I tug sharply on Hannaway's arm, causing her to stumble towards me. A sharpened metal disc flies by her head with incredible speed. That was close. Since when did the giants get metal weapons? Zigzagging our way towards the cliffs while dodging the projectiles aimed at us, I realize the 2 giants in pursuit are gaining on us. We're not going to outrun them. It's going to come to a fight, I gasp at Hannaway. Maybe instigating wasn't the brightest idea. With lungs heaving, we stop and pull our knives out of our boots, then turn swiftly and prepare to face our attackers head on. Told you, we need these. I can't help but remind her in between panted breaths. The giants stop, eye the knives, and we have a stare down. The air is thick with tension as the four of us calculate what we should each do, and as we watch for the others to attack. My eyes dare the giants to make a move, to throw the first punch. Various defensive and offensive patterns come to mind. I won't be the first to attack, I decide. The space between us is too large to guarantee a hit. Okay, I need a plan. Aha! I'll distract them. I point to the cliffs behind the giants. Look, there are our archers, I say excitedly to Hanaway. The giants quickly spin around and look, so I launch myself at the bigger one. Okay, maybe I lied about not being the first to attack, but we had to do something to end the standoff. Besides, it's not my fault giants are so stupid. Made you look, I chortle gleefully as I kick the feet out from under the giant I'm fighting, then stomp into his solar plexus. I hold my knife to the giant's throat. He gets the message and remains still, a menacing look on his face. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch sight of Hanaway. She has just landed a blow to the face of the other giant, and I hear the crack of its nose breaking. The giant doesn't go down, though, and Hanaway fights intensely. She darts in and out of her opponent's range, slicing at him with her knife. The giants may have brute strength, but they're not very agile. After a couple of tries, he grabs her wrist and forces her to drop the knife. Frick! I can't help Hanaway because I'm too preoccupied with making sure my guy doesn't get up. Just stab him in the throat, Rose. Just stab him in the throat. Kill shot. It's him or Hanaway. What are you going to do? Hanaway yelps in pain, then swings a kick at her attacker's knee that has him hunched over in pain. Yes! She's a better fighter than I anticipated. I hear our backup scrambling down the cliffs and racing toward us. We'll take it from here, one of the taller boys on Bronze Squad calls out. Bye then, I say to the giant on the ground. It was nice having this lovely chat with you. I walk backwards, keeping my eyes on the enemy. Hanaway runs backwards to a safe distance. I join her and we watch two of the boys use rope to tie up the enemy I felled, while a third holds his knife on him. The giant that Hanaway fought and brought to his knees will be easy for the bronze soldiers circling him to subdue. But there's still one giant left, so 3 more Bronze Squad members set off to find the one Hanaway stabbed in the eye. He can't have gone far. I roll my shoulders, glad that the confrontation didn't turn out too badly. Tucking my knife in my boot, I head up the cliffs toward our base camp, with Hanaway trailing a few feet behind me. We're both too out of breath to talk yet. At the top, I flop down in the grass. Well, that was mildly exciting. Mildly, Hanaway exclaims. That was the most exciting thing I've ever done. She jabbers on about the confrontation while I sit up, lean against a tree, and verify our bows and my short sword are within arm's reach. If it comes to a battle, I'll need my armor, which is with the rest of Gold Squad's in our armory tent. Fatigue overwhelms me, and I'm glad I'm sitting down. I figure someone else will report what happened down in the valley to the general. Hanaway, or one of the Bronze Squad boys who came to our aid. The general probably saw it all anyway. I wonder if he'll get any information from the 3 giants. Prisoners don't usually talk, though. Not even giants. The way it's looking, there'll be a battle very soon, and I need to be well rested to take on Lexi. Closing my eyes, I drift off to sleep. Damn, dude. She stabbed a dude in the eye with the pole of a surrender flag. That is nuts. That's way out of line. Amazing. Fucking Hanaway, new favorite character. Just like the shy, quiet ones. Like, but then also they freak out and scratch your fucking eyes out. Amazing. All right, well, I can already tell that my voice is pretty much wrecked at this point. So we're going to call it there, but I'm more than happy to pick up where we left off next week, Sunday night. That'll be chapter 6. From Hanaway's perspective, even. Which will be our 4th character perspective. narrative in really a pretty thin book, which is kind of wild. I hope everyone has been enjoying Amara's Rose, chapters 1 through 4. We will be back tomorrow evening for regularly scheduled programming. We'll be doing more Ludum Dare for pretty much the rest of the week. And then, Pagorli, when does Radial Jam end? Soon, right? So we could approach that one of two ways, depending on when it ends and what seems like a good idea. One would be to wait until Saturday and just do everybody's stuff then. Two would be for me to kind of plug through stuff earlier in the week and then sort of present some of the stuff. Oh, it ends tomorrow. Okay, yeah. So we can do like a blend. How many people enter? I should go find it. Oh, thank you so much. 131? Yeah. I've been seeing quite a few people playing, streaming this. I think that Lemon is doing this. I think Pemmy is doing this. A couple other people I didn't recognize their names. It also seems like a running theme that everyone's kind of ripping their hair out. Like, do these super suck to program? Do I just not understand that? Is that the joke here? Maths are hard. Yeah, especially once you start getting into circles, right? It's a pain in the ass. Doing, like, radians and quaternions and all of that. Sounds rough. Don't know if I could do it. Maybe someday. Yeah, okay. So we'll come back tomorrow. We can start fiddling with radial menu games. Just take a look at it and then do Ludum Dare games maybe like at request. That might be a good way to take both jams at the same time. And then Saturday will be Showcase to Ryan stuff. And Sunday will be more book. Thanks for hanging around, everybody. I'm going to go find a lozenge. And I will see you tomorrow.
That's the end of the show. All of us have got to go back on home. I hope you had a lot of fun. We'll catch you at the next one, or whenever we do at Fun Bay.